And now I call to speak Dr. Rodrigo Ayoub. Morning.
Hello, hello. Anyone came to the pulpit? No. Thank you very much. I don't know if Anna is here. I think no, not consideration about my talk. I don't know if you know what about I'm going to speak. Guess the team know. I'm going to talk in 15 minutes in English about a very complex subject to a huge, smart audience. Yes, I'm going to talk about stressful situations and stress. But we think that all stress are bad. Né? The stress are always harmful, and all the disease are related to stress. But it's not true. I'm going to prove to you that stress and a lack of a good stress, a beneficial stress, is one of the principal causes of the disease we have today. We like to live in our comfort world with a lot of facilities, né? Air conditioner and cars, elevator, and remote control, eating 6 times a day, fast snacks and meals every day. And our genetic code, our existence, our DNA is not prepared for that. We adapt from a lot of years in the environment of threats, with stress, of difficulties, of adversities. And nowadays we have a lot of comfort, and our genes, our intrinsic genes are not adapted to that. So we suffer from a lack of good stress, and this good stress called hormesis. I'm going to talk about hormesis. Is that, like Nietzsche said, Friedrich Nietzsche, a philosopher, German philosopher, talk, is that what doesn't make you, what doesn't kill you, make us stronger. The definition of hormesis is that it's a beneficial response of organisms to a low dose stressor that will be detrimental or even lethal at a higher dose. This means that you have to put in your body every day, I think every day you have to put a little low dose, short response, acute and beneficial stress. This must be intermittent. You can't do a very prolonged stress that could be harmful. But when you respect this curve, nah, with this, I think the pointer is here. When we respect this, and you have this short duration stress every day in your life, your body adapts to that, and you create a lot of pathways that are intrinsic, encoded in our DNA because of the adaptation in the environment we live for thousands of years. And we promote these genes that are in a hibernation state when you are always in a comfort zone. One of the most famous hormesis stresses are the fasting. Nowadays we talk a lot of stress about fasting, and this is a mechanism of survival we have, because we don't have food all the time like we have today. We live in a world of scarcity. Nowadays, we have an obesogenic world, and all the people die with the consequence of a lot of eating, and we have to put every day our body in some times of fasting state to promote some of these pathways. One of the most known pathway is one called PGC1 alpha, peroxisome proliferator coactivator gamma 1 alpha. This is a pathway that improves a lot of beneficial mechanisms in our body, but the most important is the mitochondrial biogenesis. One of the most important things you have to get in your life to promote your health and your longevity is get a lot of mitochondria. This the structure that creates in our body our energy, and because of that, you have mental energy, physical energy, sexual energy. You have to put a lot of mitochondria in your body. And stress with fasting is one of the most practical mechanisms to do that. And for the obesity people, the metabolic syndrome, one of the things that most kill people today, you can control a lot of this syndrome doing a thing that don't cost nothing in just activation your PGC1 alpha mechanism in your body. And you create a lot of energy. In 2019, Dr. Cabo and Dr. Mark Matson studies of this subject. They published in the review article of the New England Journal of Medicine a paper talking about the benefits of the intermittent fasting. Very easy to read this article. I recommend everybody to read. And talking about the short durations consequence of the fasting with the increase of mitochondria resilience, increase DNA repair, the autophagy process, the decrease the mTOR pathway. Dr. Walter Longo studied a lot about the consequences of you have the mTOR, the proliferation pathway activated all the time in your body. This creates a state of increase the cancer and cardiovascular disease. mTOR is like the light, is like the light of our home. It's important in your body, but it's not. It's impossible to stay always in the on state. And in the long term, you have these benefits, more improved these benefits, like the reduce inflammation, reduce the sensitivity of insulin, increase the sensitivity of insulin, and health gut microbiota and other things. So you have more resilience to other stress. One of the most interesting things about Hormesis is that you in a body with these adaptations, you have more tolerance and resilience to other stress, like emotional stress. A lot of pathways showing that. It's possible to explain all the pathways here, but it's very interesting. When we call about hormesis and mito-hormesis, or instead the hormesis of the mitochondria, we always have to remember about the exercise. Exercise is one of the most practical ways we can do hormesis in our body. And exercise, I don't know what I do. Yes. Exercise, remember, is not go to walk with your dog. Now, you have to put your body in a stress situation, Dr. Anna. Yes, what's time? The dinner yesterday. So we have to put our body in a stressful situation. It's not walking with your dog. You have to do the height intense interval training. It must be interval. It must be intense. In an aerobic condition, you can go beyond your VO2 capacity, or you can lifting weights. The no pain, no gain in the gymnasiums. We put this letter to remember that you have to go hard. Now you have to put strength. You have to have a little suffering, a little hurt. It's the concept of hormesis. It is why, because the most of the people don't do that, because we escape from the pain. We like pleasure. We like stay always in a pleasure state, in a comfort zone, and this is not an improved mechanism for our body. A lot of articles talking about the exercise to improve our health, and this study talking much about the brain consequence of that, with the increase of the neurotropic factors like the BDNF, the brain-derived neurotropic factor, NGF, nerve growth factors, mechano growth factors, transforming beta growth factors, a lot of factors that improve the replication of good cells and the capacity of our body. And increasing the chaperones proteins. The chaperones is the heat shock proteins that protect other proteins to don't lose the three-dimensional structure of the protein. The protein just works in his three-dimensional function, the enzymes and other proteins, and we have to maintain these proteins in this structure. When we lose this structure, begins aggregation of proteins that it's related to a lot of disease like Alzheimer. And when you have a lot of chaperones in your body, you have this protection of our proteins. You increase DNA repair with some activation, upregulation of enzymes like the RNA polymerase or the histone deacetylases, enzymes that protects our DNA, and the Hormesis can do that, and the mitochondrial biogenesis. A lot of pathways, I can't explain that, like the NRF2 oh my God. The NRF2 pathway is the nuclear erythroid factor related to, it's the most potent transcription factor to stimulate antioxidant enzymes like glutathione peroxidase, superoxide dismutase. So it's a pathway that's increasing our body, our superheroes, our protection enzymes, much more efficacy than vitamin C you can take. And you have always to activate this NRF2 pathway, and the exercise could do that. Exercise and Hormesis is a theme in a lot of papers. Here, there is an activation of the PPAR gamma, the peroxisome proliferator activator receptor gamma. This is a transcriptor factor of the lipid metabolism. This increases the adiponectin concentrations in our body and puts the fats where they have to be, preventing the lipotoxicity of the fat that is related with a lot of disease. The AMP kappa pathway, the kinase activated by AMP, antioxidant enzymes, nitric oxide synthase enzyme. Another study showing the exercise inducing the production of the PGC1 alpha. And remember, you have to movement every day and do Hormesis must always every day, because it's very important for all of our body, because it's what we do all of our existence in this planet. And remember that it's not so easy and not so hard. Not to run a marathon every day, you have to stay in this healthy zone. Cold exposure, like this audience in the beginning of the morning today, it's a good thing, because you have to put intermittent cold in our body, because we always live in a cold environment. And nowadays we talk about a lot of this mechanism. Wim Hof is one of the most propagators of these techniques of shocking cold temperature in our body to improve some pathways, like this pathway with the improvement of the uncoupled proteins for who wants to lose weight is one of the most interesting mechanisms, but this don't get profit for anyone, just to put you in the cold water or anything like that, and you improve in your body, in your mitochondria. You do biogenesis mitochondria, and then you do a lot of mitochondria with this protein, this uncoupling proteins, the thermogenin. That's a protein that transforms your energy not in ATP but in heat, and you promote a lot of lipid metabolism using your body to thermogenesis, and it's very healthy and very good to optimize our health. And so there is a lot of benefits of the cold exposure, like glucose uptake, elevated of metabolism of glucose and the fatty acids, more once the mitochondrial activity, the structure of phospholipids, and once more secretion of factors like growth factors that improve our cells, depleting senescent cells and improving functional cells without costing nothing. We don't listen a lot about these things, all the things I'm going to talk, because don't get profit. I'm not selling nothing. I'm just talking about what you can do to promote your health without any money, and that's what we don't listen about that. So another study showing the very recent, showing the exposure to cold and inducing autophagy and promoting the fatty acid oxidation, and more once the mitochondrial turnover and promotion of the replication of the mitochondria. Here showing the thermogenesis, activation of the mitophagy. You create new mitochondria, and in the autophagy process, you do the destruction of old mitochondria. You renewing your body. Very interesting. Increasing the production of norepinephrine in your brain. That's why nowadays there is some studies showing that this kind of hormesis can improve depression people, people with chronic depression, etc., because you have a mechanism very similar to a lot of antidepressant therapies. The food, when you put in your body phytochemicals made by the plant to protect himself, to protect themselves, and you eat this food, the phytochemicals are the toxic substance that the plant produce to protect themselves, and we eat these plants, and it's called xenohormesis. Hormesis for another being, and we put this substance in our body and improve our health. There is a lot of studies talking about what? This is stress, okay? Stress, good stress. Okay, I'm always in the end. So we can put phytochemicals to do like exercise, like dietary, like heat exposure, and you can improve your neurotropic factors, chaperones, antioxidant, enzymes, like the nerve. One of the most important is sulforaphane, one of the most efficacy to improve the nerve 2 pathway, to improve our antioxidant enzymes, antipoptic proteins, uncoupled proteins, and we have a more resilience to stress. Like resveratrol, like sulforaphane from the Broccoli family, the Brassica families, the transforming of the glucoraphane to the isothiocyanates, like the sulforaphane, the curcumin, a lot of the epigallocatechin 3 galates of the green tea. So we have a lot of pathways, like the block the mTOR, block the A-kappa T, the protein kinase B. This is proliferative pathways that we have to control, not to get cancer like that. And have the stimulation like the sirtuin family. Dr. David Sinclair studies a lot of the sirtuins, the stimulation, the FOXO3 genes that promote longevity in our body. And the toxic, there are a lot of papers. And the heat shock response, the promotion in our body, the heat shock proteins, the proteins that come from the stimulus from heat. And these chaperones, like I said, protects our proteins. We can produce dynorphins. Dynorphin is a type of endorphin that binds to the kappa receptor in our brain, and they generate discomfort. We don't like the dynorphin in our brain because we up-regulate this endorphin when we are in a heat condition. But in the long term, when we put dynorphin in our brain, we sensitize and improve the sensibilization of the mu receptor of the endorphin. So after the heat exposure, you start to feeling better. You start to get a most good condition and feeling because you have more sensitivity to the receptors of the endorphin. So it's a mechanism after the exposure. And the same like the norepinephrine. I have a sauna like that in my apartment, and I like sauna very much. You have to study a lot of hormesis in aging. For more than 20 years, I play volleyball, beach volley in Aveiro, Portugal, with my friends. I do in fasting states, and sometimes 20 hours in a fasting state, doing in each point a heat exercise, because it's a very intense game. And when it's a sunny day with a lot of heat, after the play, I go to this beach and stay more or less 10 or 15 minutes in a cold water and go to my home and eat a food with a lot of phytochemicals to promote in my body the channel Hormesis. So me and Dr. Yvonne has a course of modulation of hormones, and in next November, we're going to have another class. And thank you very much, and don't forget.
What doesn't kill you makes you strong.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ayoub.